My friendy, and welcome back to my channel. My name's Caitlin Anwin for anyone who's new here, and let's get back into building in Planet Zoo. And I'm continuing in the Balayong Zoo, named after the cherry blossom trees in the Philippines. And I thought I'd mix it up a little bit today, and instead of doing an animal from the Southeast Asia Animal Pack, I thought I would do a different kind of Asian animal. So today we're going to be doing a Komodo dragon habitat. And like I usually do with all of my habitat builds, I always research the species before I start building so I can get to know them a little bit more. And Komodo dragons live on the island of Komodo, and they actually live near volcanoes, and sadly the volcanoes do harm the Komodo dragons. But the one I'm building today is going to be a dormant volcano, of course. We don't actually want to harm our dragons. I'm Welsh, I love dragons. I just thought it'd be really fun to play around with the new recoloring feature with the water, and recolor the water like a lavary reddy orange colour with a volcano. The volcano was kind of tricky to make out of terrain, and I did fiddle around with it quite a lot and ended up cutting most of that out. The easiest way to actually make it was using the pyramid shape for the terrain, and I really wanted to play around with the effects as well to make this look like a proper volcano, not just a big hill with some red water in it. And I thought it'd be fun to add in some bubble special effects to make it look like it's kind of boiling, and of course some smoke coming out of it too. And I also thought an added little extra detail for the lava portion of the volcano, I would add in a light which is glowy orangey red as well, to make it look like the lava was hot and glowing with heat in the night time as well. And the big stadium spotlight did not work, but this one did. It's kind of odd because it doesn't light up the water at all, it just lights up the terrain around the water, so at certain angles it looks like it is actually glowing and the water's glowing like lava, but if you look too closely, which the guests will never see, it's just us, you can kind of tell that it's not the water glowing itself. And because I wanted this to be a dormant volcano, not an active one, I wanted to sort of signify that this volcano had erupted at one point. So I wanted to add in some volcanic rock in the divots of the mountain, the lava had flowed and settled in the little divots and crevices. So I used the aquatic pack rocks and recolored them like a very deep black grey. This really reminds me of when I went to Iceland. This is my favourite thing to talk about. If you've been around watching a couple of my other videos, one of my tour guides actually said when we asked how many volcanoes were on Iceland, that Iceland is just one big volcano, and it's kind of right because there's a lot of volcanic rock and the ground is really dark. I live in a very green country. I live in a very green part of Wales as well. I live in the valleys, so there's lots of fields and everything's green. So for the week I was in Iceland, I very much missed the green because there was a lot of volcanic rock around there, and so I kind of tried to replicate that in these little pools by the volcano. So I didn't want it to all be in one shade because it doesn't kind of settle like that. Well, I don't know why I'm telling you. I can actually show you. I actually have a souvenir volcanic rock. So there we go. I'm doing the beauty guru thing. This used to be lava, and as you can see, it's not all one shade of grey or black. And what I found the most interesting was there's bubbles in it from the heat of the lava. So yeah, it's a pity that we didn't have any rocks that look exactly like volcanic rock, and obviously we don't have the bubbles in rocks or anything. They are just the faux rocks from the aquatic pack. But I tried to use the ones that kind of look like pebbles, the clusters of smaller rocks, in a darker shade of grey or black to give it a little bit more variation in the volcanic rock. I talk a lot about Iceland being my favourite holiday or trip. What's your favourite place you've ever been? I know there hasn't been a lot of travel in the past year and a bit, but what's been your favourite place to travel to? It doesn't have to be an abroad thing. Could have just been a town you went to visit. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. And I've never actually built a habitat for a Komodo dragon before. I focused mainly on the career mode scenario zoos, and the career mode scenarios never really had anything for the deluxe edition animals, whatever that is. I've only got the deluxe edition so I could play beta, but yeah, I've never played around with any of the deluxe edition animals because career mode never really wanted to add them in because obviously it's not really fair. And now I was thinking how I could make a shelter for the Komodos. And I wanted to tie in the volcanic rock and the volcano and everything. But I didn't want to make it look like the cave that the Doles have. So I was thinking maybe it could be more of a man-made sort of shelter, so the keepers, I guess, whoever's creating these habitats, me, have collected volcanic rock and shaped it and created a man-made cave structure out of the volcanic rock for the Komodos. And you know, this is my favourite trick in Planet Zoo, is making something perfectly circular with the advanced move tool. So I wanted to make an igloo shape basically, but out of rock instead of ice. And I think the pattern of the hexagonal or octagonal rocks with the flat top to them, it kind of looks like scales, like dragon scales as well. And as I was doing the pattern, I thought it was just really pretty. Unfortunately, this build does require the aquatic pack, not the Southeast Asia pack, just because I used the rocks to be able to recolor them and make them this nice dark grey color to match in with real volcanic rock. Started to look very pointy. I haven't quite mastered the igloo shape yet. And I really enjoyed reading the fun facts about all of the Southeast Asia Animal Pack animals in the animal showcase video that I did a while back now. And I thought because I'd already read all of the fun facts for them that I wouldn't do them for the build, but I've never really gone into the fun facts about Komodos, so I thought I would include a fun fact about each of the animals in the speed build as well if we haven't already looked into them. So I thought that would be a little bit of fun, and just kind of picking one out of the bunch that are kind of a little bit more fun than some of the others, because some of them can be kind of sad, like how Komodos can be killed by volcanic eruptions. But I wanted to pick something a little bit fun and a little bit of education about these animals too, why not? So as something I didn't really know from any of the other research that I'd been looking into is female Komodo dragons can actually lay eggs without mating, and unlike the giant leaf insect, all of the eggs will be hatched male instead of the leaf insect only reproduces females. So that was super interesting. How come all the hatchlings are male instead of female? Why do they all come out one gender with those sorts of things? Animals are interesting, aren't they? And to follow up on the bug house video, I don't think it is programmed in the game for leaf insects to breed on their own, because the female leaf insects in my zoo died before they produced any offspring, so I don't think it's actually programmed in the game just a fun little fact. I thought the one colour grey was just too boring. Too man-made and too fake looking. So it would look a little bit more natural and a little bit more like the volcanic rocks. I just tried to recolor them all different shades of grey. I tried lots of different ways of getting an opening for this rock igloo. Yeah, I think I'll just call it that, a rock igloo, so the Komodos can actually get in and use it as a proper shelter. The pathways, the elevated pathways, also give the Komodos a bit of shelter as well, so they're pretty happy with their shelter. I got a little bit more inspired to add in some different shades of grey into the volcanic rock as well, so it wasn't all this very dark grey black. Got a little bits of light popping through, like grey popping through here, there and everywhere, and I grouped them together so it was easier to multi-select as well. If they're in a group, you can hold control and multi-select different things, but if the rocks are not in a group, you can't multi-select and recolor them. Planet Zoo works in mysterious ways, but it's very easy to collect the scenery into a group. You just click that little icon in the top right corner. And then my little rock igloo was looking very lonely, just in the middle of that area there. So I decided to make this part more of an oasis, like the volcano had killed the plant life near it, and this part was the only bit that could really grow plants, which, like I said, when I was in Iceland, there's not a lot of greenery going around. I went in September, so maybe that was a reason too, because it was kind of going into autumn, and I've been focusing so much on like pinks and purple plants for the rest of the zoo that it was nice to go in and have a look at what other plant life is around. I've used some of like the burgundy red plants, like flowers, I'm not sure what they are, and dotted them around as well, kind of like a hint to the volcano that's like reddy orange. So I wanted pops of red in this one, and I like the plants so much that I wanted to add them into the rock igloo as well. Just the really small ones, like they've been growing out of the cracks of the rocks, and this little detail just made it look so much nicer. It tied it in with like the plants around it, and even though it is technically man-made, it looks more natural with plants growing out of it. Of course, then I needed to add in some education. I used the lizard sign just to give it a little bit of a Komodo dragon look to it. I like adding a little bit more of a personalization to the education boards, and it's so easy just to replicate this one thing because it has all of the education that is needed. It's got the speaker, the board, all of that. But I won't show you absolutely everything because the ends of these videos are pretty much all the same. I just put the education boards down. I hope you enjoyed my little show and tell of my own little volcanic rock from Iceland. I really wanted to show you that, so it's a little bit easier to see something like that than describe it, because trying to say that there's bubbles in rocks doesn't really make sense unless you can see it. But yeah, I just wanted to show the volcano in all its glory in the daytime and in the nighttime, because the nighttime looks really cool with that orangey red glowy light on the inside, and I love the puffs of smoke and stuff coming out of the volcano. It does look kind of real, and I don't know whether dormant volcanoes do smoke like that. I probably should have done a little bit more research, I don't know, but it makes it look more realistic in the game anyway, and it was a bit of fun trying to figure out how to recolor water to make it kind of look like lava and not like blood, because it's liquid. It's not thick enough to be lava, I don't think. Yeah, that's pretty much the whole habitat. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, smash that like button, and if you haven't already and you would like to, it would mean a lot to me if you could subscribe and hit the bell to be notified whenever I upload a new video. I upload on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day and I will see you next time. Goodbye.